Hello everyone and welcome to another Brothers War draft of traditional kind. I think the first pick is easy, but this pack is very strong. Now, Visions of Phyrexa will be the first pick. This is a very good bomb class rare. It just takes over the game because you basically get usually the option to play 2 cards per turn instead of just the one you draw. Well, I mean, of course you can play as many as you have still in your hand, but you get access to 2 new cards per turn. That's really good for a 4 mana enchantment. Also, on the first turn you play this, you will get the Power Stone token because, well, you didn't probably play any card from exile that turn. So this is a really good bomb rare. Always going to be the first pick. I mean, assuming the retro slot isn't something like Wemgol Engine. Horned Stoneseeker would be a first pickable card too, and I do like the Opportunist and the Confrontation as a very decent quality green cards. The Battery Bearer can be quite nice, and Ambush Paratrooper quite important in basically all the white decks, so a very strong pack. And I get a very strong pack still passed to me, so someone took the rare, which must have been pretty good, or just someone was rare drafting. I mean, of course, there are some very good bomb rares in the format, so it's not a surprise that someone took rare over the good cards this pack has to offer. The best one of which is the Skyfisher Spider. Even though it's a 2-color card, I would probably first pick this over, these single-color efficient removal spells. But indeed, this pack has the black removal spell. Could be just the best black common in the set, and then there's the Excavation Explosion, which could be the best red common as well, or at least very close to that. So now the question is, how do I follow up with this thing? I mean, it's early in the draft, so I can pick just completely unrelated cards in the sense that you can just take the best cards even if they don't fit in the same deck. But I mean, the Excavation Explosion is the best fit for the first pick, and it's still close in power level compared to these two better cards. I think, well, so in some decks, actually, the Remorse is not as good as the Explosion, but early in the draft, I would probably prefer the Exile spell that hits any target, not just, things that have 3 toughness or fewer. But yeah, I took the Explosion because of the synergy with the first pick. But if you took the Spider or if you took the Mono Black removal spell, that's totally acceptable pick from that pack as well. Now, okay, let's see. The Chain Dancer isn't a good one. The Forge Chanter is, depending on deck, it can be like from mediocre to actually good. I don't know yet which one would it be in this deck. Bitter Reunion can be a good role player in the sacrifice deck that has, those cards that care about you sacrificing permanents. There's also a Disfigure, there's also a Boulder Branch Golem. These are the cards I'm looking at here. Let's see, should I just keep it mono red and take the 2-drop? I think the Disfigure is enough better. I'm gonna take it and maybe see if black red can be open. Well, at least there's nothing that's too interesting from red, so I shouldn't consider mono red based on this pack. I mean, Race to the Ground is a playable card, and this is a best of 3 draft. I usually start this with this thing in my sideboard. I like to sideboard it in against opponents which have, more than a few targets or just has some amazing bomb I actually absolutely need to be able to remove. Anyway, it's a sideboard card in my opinion. Here, I see a bunch of blue, but not all of it is really good. I mean, after the Mightstones animation, the blue isn't that amazing. I think I still take it because it's the card with most potential. I mean, I don't think the shoot down is that good. Carrion Locust is playable, but I'm not gonna take it just a playable card at pick 4. I'll take the best card, and if blue is gonna be open, I might get something, some good use out of the Mightstones animation. Well, blue seems to be open, but I mean, I'm not even sure if I can say that because this is a bad card. This is very unexciting. This is just a very, it's not really a pick 5 card. Some decks, might care about it, but not all decks. Same applies for the Phalange, Archaeologist, and the Retrieval Agent is just very mediocre playable that usually gets cut. So none of the blue is really that interesting. I think I will just take the Bliss Automaton. This is a weak-ish pack, but this is a fine 3/7 drop, and I already have actually 2 ways to get a Power Stone token, so it makes the 7 mana cost a lot more, tolerable when you can actually have some power stones to help with it, help casting it. Alright, so here another Fateful Handoff, which is I think unplayable, but it could be a sideboard card against decks that run those passivism effects, which there's a blue lockdown aura, and there's the which is a common, and then there's a white common aura that prevents the creature from doing anything. So it's actually a nice sideboard option to sideboard this in against decks that run those, but it's all it does. It's really not a good card by itself without any way to combine it with said mechanics. Now I'm just going to take the Forge Chanter here. I don't really see blue being that open here, and this is an acceptable 2-drop here. I ideally will be red. It seems like I will certainly be red, and whether it's gonna be like red black, red blue, or maybe even red white or red green or just mono red, all those are possibilities that can realize still. The disfigure and the might stones animation, they are not that big reasons to move to those colors. They need to be open before I can commit to drafting more of those. So here actually the choice is between the Forge Chanter and the Refractor. The Refractor would be good if I'm gonna play the blue-red deck, but I actually don't mind having the Forge Chanter either as a 2-drop here. But I think you can pick stuff like that later on, so I'm gonna take the Refractor to keep my options open to various type of decks I might be able to draft. Semblance Anvil, not really worth using 2 cards to get some, well, relevant discounts. 2 mana is relevant discount, but then again later in the game it could be just very useless, so you don't really want to use the Anvil and the card you exile to get those discounts, so it's just not a playable card. Which means I'm gonna just take the 3-drop, which is okay. This also, the Bulwark is nice in the slow blue decks, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be a slow blue red deck, so I'm gonna take the 3-1 that has some beneficial death trigger. Alright, so here the best card is the Epic Confrontation, and nothing really comes close to that, so I'm gonna take it. I can still be any color combination that probably involves a red. But I'm gonna just take the best card here. No reason to get married to any of these other colors now. Okay, Scrapsmith isn't that good. You would have to have like a 14 plus artifacts to make it good, because you don't really want to run a 3-mana 3/2. You want to consistently hit something. Alright, so Thraxo Demon and the Gaia's Corsair, those are the relevant spells here. I think I'll take the cheaper one. They are, playable 5-drops in this format, and this deck, it doesn't really seem like a self-mill deck or anything. Okay, interesting. There's now the Fateful Handoff here as an option, but I still take the Forge Chanter. I already passed one. I wanna, take these just to have those 2-drops, and this can really be good in decks that have a lot of prowess triggers. I have actually 6 non-creatures now, although some of them are not even red. But anyway, the Handoff has such a fringe use as a sideboard card that I'm not really going to care about it too much. Alright. So Carrion Locust, that would go with my black stuff, but I have only like 1 decent removal and 1 okay 2-drop. I could take something like a Thanos Tinkering because of the double Forge Chanter, but I don't think it really makes sense. I mean, it's a pump spell no one expects. That's a reason to maybe run it, because it's not really that good. But it can work in the kind of decks that just want to push through with help of combat tricks. I'm gonna take the most playable card out of those. Okay, let's take the Tinkering now. I put some stuff to the sideboard because these are not really the cards I'm gonna look to be drafting. I mean, I'm not going to look to put these guys in my deck that easily. For example, the Skullflare, you want to have some kind of self-mill or other stuff in your deck that makes it easy to have 3 or more creatures in there. Now, this pack is of course very strong because there's a great rare Sky Strike Officer. There's also Scrapwork Mat, so if you are really careful, you want to stay open, you would take the Mat because it is a really good card, and this deck will be easily able to unearth it. But then again, this is just a crazy bomb that can win by itself. I'm gonna take it. The other option is the Mat, and then it goes. I could take the Cohort here, you can, yeah, but I mean, this is just a too good rare. I could be blue-red here still, so let's just take the best card, which is blue. Alright, so here, I think it's pretty easy to follow up with Take Flight. It's a really decent card. Makes the opponent, basically forces the opponent to have an answer for the thing pretty much right away, because the combination of getting this evasive threat and drawing extra cards, it just does two very nice things. Sometimes you maybe are not able to, push through damage opponent is, more ahead, but then you get the cards. And sometimes you might not even care about the cards, but you're able to, deal the final points of damage because of the evasive creature. And there's no drawback playing this, as long as the opponent can't instant speed interact with this thing. You get your card back right away. But yeah, I'm gonna take it. It's actually a fairly weak pack. There's the Gixen Infiltrator, which I would take if I was still drafting black. Chapline is fine. But of course, after the Sky Strike Officer, I just hope I can be a blue-red. Well, there's no blue here, but there's an Obliterating Bolt, which I'm of course taking here. There is also another Energy Refractor, which I might take, because if I might find some more copies of Mightstone's animation, but so far it doesn't seem to be that good in this deck, but we'll see how the draft continues. This is an easy pick, of course. It's the best card in the pack, and it's in my color that I'm surely going to play, so easy pick. Foundry Inspector is like okay. You would really need to have a lot of artifacts to make it that good, because it is after all just a 3-mana 3/2 ground guy. Okay, here we have Battlefield Forge, but I'm not going to splash anything that's white. I don't even have the Scrapwork cohort in my deck. There's a Monastery Swift Spear, there's a Stern Lesson, there's an Evolving Wilds. It's going to be one of those. I don't really like the Scatter Ray in this format. Maybe as a sideboard card, but it's going to be one of these. My pick. I mean, Evolving Wilds mostly because it's nice to have some mana fixing. Even if you're playing just two colors, I have a double red card here, for instance. But Stern Lesson might still be the pick here. Let's see the mana curve. I should maybe cut the black and green very soon, but I haven't so little time here. I'm not going to do that right now. I think I'm going to take one Stern Lesson here. I do have the Bliss Automaton to ramp to so far. Nothing else really, but I'm still taking it. And of course you don't have to ramp to something. The Power Stones are of course useful even when casting these cheap artifacts. Now there's a Mithras Juggernaut. Okay, funny draft where I have all the Forge Chanters. Now it's not a premium quality 2-drop, so it's not a surprise, but mostly funny because a lot of these things were opened already by pack 2, pick 5. I think this is like the 4th or 5th of these Forge Chanters that I'm seeing in the draft. Okay, so I do like the Juggernaut. And I have some Power Stone token generating already, so I'm gonna take it. Yeah, I see there's not much blue, but the Sky Strike Officer is good enough that I'm going to, a little bit of a force the blue-red, but I could still be red something that splashes blue, but then again, there's something isn't that great. I mean, I don't have any a large number of cards from any other color that makes me want to run it as a main color other than red or blue, because well, blue I'm gonna want to play regardless. Alright, this pack is weak. I could take the conscripted infantry. It's actually not so bad, because with the colorless token is something you can target with the Mightstone's animation. I don't think I'm gonna play the cornucopia now. I'll just take the infantry here. It's not the greatest 3-drop, but that was a weak pack, and I get now a Mightstone's animation number 2. I would play a Machine of Matter, or at least pick, and maybe it fits in my main deck or not. But now the Mightstone's animation actually makes these two conscripted infantries much better, and I'm definitely going to play the energy refractor in my deck as well. Also, the tokens this thing makes they are artifact creatures for the small artifact creatures that are good targets for the animation. Here I'm just going to take the Forge Chanter. Oh, by the way, the Stern Lesson also making the Power Stone token is quite decent, because you can curve out a turn 3 Stern Lesson into a Mightstone's animation. Although I only had one animation when I made the pick. But yeah, here I'm gonna just take the 2-drop. I'm more interested in surviving than anything else right now. I don't have that many 2-drops. This pack though, the Wings is usually good, the Machine over Matter is good. I could just take another infantry when I cut my cards for other cards that are not blue-red. I could see my curve a little bit better. Okay, fine. Which double Mightstone's animation? I'm gonna take the 3rd infantry, but I'm not a big fan of that necessarily, because there is a problem that this format has, other things that other 1/1 tokens that are very good against the 3/1. Here I can take the Archaeologist. I suppose I might even be able to main deck it. Bitter unit. No, now it's time to take the race to the ground for the sideboard. So surely I don't have any of those. Just take the red card. I don't think I'm gonna main deck it, but let's keep it for there for now. I'll pass the black. These are actually both good black cards. I mean, playable black cards. So I'm gonna try to make the person to my right maybe be black if they already aren't. Okay, this figure is the last pick, which is a little weird. Alright, so there is a decent 2-drop here. If I have a little bit more synergy for it, I mean, I currently have the Refractor, which I can keep bouncing and replaying. You know, it will cost 4 mana to draw a card, but, you know, it's nice to have the option available. Other cards worth considering are maybe the Swift Spear. I might have a decent amount of non-creatures for the power triggers, but prowess trigger, I mean, but Pristine Talisman is also decent. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of things to bounce or copy, but I think I'll still take it because I don't mind having another 2-drop here. Now I'm gonna actually cut the black and green here. So is this the... Oh, I already know what I'm gonna take here from this pack, but let's just see. Was there anything else I'm not going to be playing? I think the Mistress Onslaught is quite unlikely to make the deck, so this is the deck so far. Right, so I would of course be very happy about the research desk, but this is just an amazing bomb. It's funny that there are the options for the equip to, you know, pay 2 generic or 1 black. I guess it's for constructed purposes. You can play this in black decks maybe, but you know, in limited, the generic equip cost is totally enough for this effect. So it's not exactly Skull Clamp, but then again, Skull Clamp is an amazing, sick, broken card. So this is, you know, really good still. You know, getting cards from your creatures, and this is also an equipment that pumps power, which, you know, is quite relevant, so that the opponent, if they don't block your creatures, at least they're taking more damage. I mean, if they don't want to block your creatures, because that would allow you to draw cards. Now this is a good pack. I'm probably not taking the take flight here. I'm more interested in the early drop still. And this also makes me a 1/1 colorless flyer, which is a nice target for the Mighty Stones animation. And it's just a very good 2-drop. I don't know how many ways I have to draw extra cards. I have maybe some. Yeah, take flight would be the second option. This cohort is, you know, decent, but I think that was those were the 2 options I was deciding between. All right, so here. Okay, I don't think I need more Forge Chanters, so let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Archaeologist. Do I have some non-creatures? No, actually, I might still play it because I think the best cards in the pack, among my picked cards, are in fact non-creatures, so I might be able to dig towards them. But here, do I take something like a rebuff sideboard card supply drop? I don't know, I'll just take the 2-drop. That means I have enough of them against some aggressive archetypes, because of course this format has a ton of aggressive archetypes. Alright. Can I get the Flask or the Refractor back? I don't think I can, because this is pick 5. No, I will have the worst 2 cards next. Yeah, this is gonna come back to me at pick number 13. I guess there will be 3 cards left. Well, there will be the Goblin Firebomb, Power Blade. Yeah, I don't know, because I want to have the Flask, the Refractor still, but maybe I'll take now the Mighty Stones animation, because I have the triple infantry also here. Okay, I think it is time to take Evolving Wilds here. Yep, it is. And here I could... Oh, yeah, black was funnily open after... I mean, in pack 1 it really wasn't. Then I got like in pack 2, 15th pick this figure, and now I see at pick 7, Overwhelming Remorse. But yeah, what is my pick from this pack? Is it gonna be something like a supply drop or another? I don't really want to play too many of these 3/1s for 3. So I'm gonna actually just switch it up a bit and take the supply drop here. And here I could take a Desynchronize. And yeah, Emergency World here still in the pack. So black was opening later in the draft, surely. But I mean, when I saw the Sky Strike Officer, that was really pretty easy to move to blue after that. Alright, so desynchronize as a sideboard card, some interaction. I don't have a lot of it. I don't think I'm gonna main deck it though. Another Race to the Ground. I don't think I need a Bulwark here because I have these 2-drops which I know fine enough. Maybe I'll take the Savant for some late game stuff where I can threaten just drawing a lot of cards. Tower Worker, is that going to be good in this deck? I mean, it's also something I can target with the animation. Yeah, I'm gonna at least take it. And then there's a dig site. Don't know if I want to make my mana worse by picking it, but let's keep the option there at least. I mean, I can pick it, but I'm not necessarily want to make my mana worse by playing it. Alright, so here is just nonsense. I don't think I care about any of that. I'll just take an uncommon. Yeah, this was the pack from which I would have wanted to get one of the 2 mana artifacts, but I actually have something like a Power Stone Fracture here still. I'm gonna pick it just because it has no business being there that late in the pack, and it's also something I could actually splash from when I sideboard stuff. Alright, I'll take the supply drop here. And there's a green card as the last pick. Okay, so let's cut the lands for now. Don't think there was anything interesting in here. Nope. So I'll make a few cuts and have to decide if I want to play 16 or 17 lands. Let's see the creature curve. I have currently 15 creatures, 13 non-creatures. Alright, so that is now 7 2-drops. I don't need 7. Not sure if I want to main deck the Savant. Probably not. Just cut it. And then any easy cuts in here. I guess like one supply drop, I can just cut it. It's an easy thing to do. Desynchronize. Yeah, the problem with this deck is that I have like the Excavation Explosion and the Obliterating Bolt, and they are my interaction here. This is interaction, it's very expensive at that though. Do I want to play the Archaeologist or the Chanter? Because I'm going to cut one of these 2-drops for sure. I don't need 7 of them. So what is the cut? So that is now currently 12 non-creatures, but I might cut. I think from the main deck I'd rather play the supply drop than the desynchronize. This supply drop also has additional value in being a 3 mana trick, and yeah, even though you can use 4 mana to draw a card with it, it's gonna be a decent target for the Mightstones animations once it has been used as a trick, because it's better to pay 4 mana for a 4/4 than just draw a card. And this of course does draw a card as well. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the desynchronize from the main deck. If I feel like I need more interaction, then in that case I will be considering sideboarding it in. But yeah, I think this now is this a 17 land deck or not? Well, definitely if it's a 16 land deck, the dig site won't be going into the deck. It will be basics plus the evolving wilds in that case. So let's see how many good ways I have to make this by turn 4. I mean, a good target for this by turn 4. I guess in a pinch you can also, if you don't have because I don't necessarily have that many creatures, especially if I cut one more. Did I cut the 2-drop already, by the way? I don't think I even did. 1, 2, 3, yeah, I still have 7. I will cut one of the 2-drops. But yeah, I wanted to make sure if I want to actually run 3 of these, or do I run risk of getting flooded by these and without having good targets for them. So currently the crown works. If I don't have a creatures to equip, I might just want to turn this into a 4/4 creature. Of course the refractor works quite nicely. The Thopter mechanic usually will die, and I can even jump block with it when I know that I can turn the 1/1 into an 4/4 flyer, which will be definitely a good reason to jump block. You don't even lose a card by doing so because this thing draws your card. So what was it? That was 3. Then there are the supply drop, well, which I don't necessarily always play on turn 3. But the tower worker and the sky strike officer will create me some good targets, and of course this infantry is quite often going to just trade with whatever the opponent has, and I don't mind making pretty much any trade when I have a Milestones animation in my hand. Then of course there's the Stern Lesson and the Explosion, which create power stones that I can animate. So that is in fact quite a few of them. 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, and then I can have these on turn 4 maybe, and it will create usually at least one power stone. That I have enough to play all 3 of these animations. And now 11 non-creatures for now. I'm gonna cut. So the archaeologist can get any non-creature. Non-creature, non-land. Well, I have 11 of those in the deck now. The problem is that I'm not too happy about a 1/4 in this deck. I will be a little bit aggressive. So I think I will sideboard it maybe in against decks where the 1/4 is better. I mean, it's of course of O3. When you get a card, you would rather get the card. So the O3 doesn't really do much, in terms of dealing damage to the opponent. Unless you get to equip it with the enchant, or equip with the crown. But yeah, I'm gonna cut the archaeologist because these forge chanters can, deal nice amount of damage still. You can, maybe not nice, but two is easy, and sometimes they can deal 3 when you double spell non-creatures. And with this amount of non-creatures, it's definitely possible to double spell a bit. So now the question is this one cantrip going to be enough for me to run 16 lands? I do have the tower worker, which I maybe don't need to play. Mostly what it does, help me cast these 2 expensive artifacts. Of course, this is also a 3-drop when I don't have any other play for turn 3. But mostly this is also a decent target for the animation. So I'm not sure if I want to cut this. If I run only 16 lands, what's the risk here? The risk is that I'm stuck at 2 or 3 lands and I have all these in my hand. So I have the 1 cantrip on 2, which helps me to find more. Oh, by the way, the Milestones animations are also card draw effects, so the Thopter mechanic can grow in this deck quite a bit. Alright. So if I'm going to cut a card from this deck, I don't think I want to cut the Automaton or the Juggernaut. They are, good heavy hitters that I'm otherwise lacking. I maybe could even cut 1 Forge Chanter still, because this deck isn't really a prowess deck. The main reason to run these is to not die early. I do like the worker more because of the, it actually can help me cast this expensive stuff, and it's a good target for the animation. So maybe I will cut one of these, because I still have 1, 2, 5 creatures on turn 2 and the Obliterating Bolt on turn 2. That's 6 ways to affect the board. Assuming the opponent has a target for the Obliterating Bolt. I don't think the target needs to be that amazing when I just want to have a own curve play, but I feel like this deck might want to run 17 lands. I do have the Stern Lesson to get rid of extra lands. I have the kind of, this will draw me cards, and the Drafna can, actually benefit from having access to a lot of mana. Yeah, I like it more like this. 8 blue, 9 red. Well, with the Evolving Wilds, it's gonna be 8 basics anyway. I do have 1 double red, but I also want to have access to my blue spells. Plus, I have the Energy Refractor, which also, helps. Maybe, it will be a total of 5 mana if I need to use the Refractor to cast the Visions with only 1 mountain, but it's still better than not being able to do it at all. So I think this is fine. Yeah, 17 lands seems reasonable, because I have ways to draw cards and ways to benefit from having a bunch of lands in play. Alright, so what is the art style of the lands? Let's use this full art Zendikar Rising lands here. I'm not a big fan of the islands from the set, but I guess this will suffice. Alright, that is the main deck. Okay, play first. Well, no blue mana, but no blue spells, so this is fine to 2-drop, 3-drop. Maybe the haster can be played. Opponent mulligan to 6 at least, which usually means that they might struggle a bit, but also not always. Okay, with the Tower Worker is gonna be quite nice. I can get a turn 4 Juggernaut if I draw just one land in 2 draw steps. Well, with the caveat that if the second draw step is exactly Evolving Wilds, then of course I won't be having the 5 mana, but let's see. That's gonna be good at some point. I'm going to find my way to produce blue. So Mind Worker isn't really the kind of thing I need to Excavation Explode. So, well, I don't think that was correctly said. I don't Excavation Explode it. I will. Or maybe I do, I don't know. Okay, they have a Mistress Foundry. So they're gonna attack into this thing, which is going to mean that they're gonna have a trick, because that's a way too risky of an attack otherwise. Sorry, I was wrong. It's an assembly worker. There's an onboard trick, so let's not block. But I wouldn't have, even if they had just 3 basics there, I wouldn't have let them use a trick for me to get rid of this Tower Worker, because I of course want to get to 5 mana. And I was able to do that. Ideally I would have drawn an island, but I'm happy to get the turn 4 Juggernaut here. I think... So they always have the threat of activation for this thing. When it attacks, it threatens to be a 4/3. So that means that I'm not going to block with the Forge Chanter. And that means I'm going to attack with the 1/3, because it's not gonna block those guys. So I get the 1 damage dealt for free, and then I can play the Juggernaut. Now this thing has a reach, so it can actually block the Chaplain, but I might also still use the Excavation Explosion on it at some point. Okay, third color. So now with the Mind Worker, I mean, I can still block. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take the 4, because I can use the Excavation Explosion to deal with some of their guys, and I have a bunch of damage here. Oh, they didn't play that pre-combat. I mean, I think... Oh, but then they wouldn't have attacked with the Mind Worker, but they could have dealt the same amount in air, have this untapped to maybe gain them a point of life. Anyway, I'm just going to do this, of course, because this is a really good card, and this way I can deal them. I can choose to deal... oh, come on. 7 or 8. I actually do want to... So let's see, I have 4 lands plus this. This is 5. This adds 6. So if I draw a land, I can play the Bliss Automaton. So do I want to risk blocking their... Or the Chaplain? I mean, they might still have a trick, you know, even though the Foundry can't obviously pump the Chaplain, but... Also, if I don't draw a land, I can still double spell my 3 drops. If I have the Tower Worker. So let's deal the damage. I'm not gonna block the Chaplain. I go to 10 here. I could go to 8 if they also activate the Foundry, but I mean that takes a lot of their mana, so I don't expect that to happen. But I do have the Juggernaut, which is threatening to, you know, also deal quite a bit of damage. Okay, so I can play the Bliss Automaton right now. I can also make something fly if I want to, but I don't think I can threaten any kind of lethal right now. So if I put Take Flight on the Chanter, I would deal 3 in the air, and then I will threaten to deal 5. Of course, this has Trample, so they are not good blockers on it. If they double block, they still take 3 damage and lose both of these guys, so that's just good news for me. I can also play the Conscripted Infantry just to have some ground blockers. They can't really use this for more than, you know, itself. Actually, they don't have any other soldiers as a target, so they can deal a bunch of damage in the air, but the Tower Worker will be able to block. So I'm thinking about just playing the Take Flight on the Forge Chanter and the Conscripted Infantry, and let's leave the Bliss Automaton as a hasty. Oh, that's actually not gonna work the way I want it to. Yeah. Because of course this I can't cast the infantry with the power stone. So the only way to use 7 mana this turn is to cast the artifact. So I could play this pre-combat as a... Oh, I don't want to do that. So if I just played it, the problem is if I play this, they will block or double block. I would have to leave this guy untapped. I'm gonna actually do it like this. So, sorry, I meant leave this guy, tapped. I wanna have that blocker there. So now I can't cast anything else than the Blitz Automaton, but I mean that is... Yeah, the problem is they are threatening 10 damage. If they have a cheap way to deal with the Tower Worker, of course. They didn't even go for the block, so they might just have something like a Excavation Explosion. Maybe I wasn't supposed to do that, but maybe I was supposed to play a little bit safer. Just attack with a Juggernaut, leave the one this Chandler to block. And maybe just play the... but then again, if I just play the infantry, I'm not using a lot of my mana. Maybe I was supposed to make this into a 3-2. It's too late now. There's no point playing this now, because I will have to tap my Tower Worker. So I might just lose this turn. I actually thought they would block, but... Okay. That didn't happen. So now I can block the Mine Worker, but they will pump it. So it's gonna be a 4-3. But if they are not going to block with... attack with anything else, I think I can take 4 here. I'm not dying to that thing. Cavalry post combat. Okay, so now they're at least tapped out. So Mightstone's animation. I don't... Oh, this thing has Trample. I can make it into 4-4. I'd rather have it 5-3. Yeah, so they didn't even have the mana to use the Mishra's Foundry, so I only took 2 here. So now this is a good blocker on the Forge Chandler. I can make it into a 3-3. Well, actually, I can make it into a 3-4 so that it doesn't die. Unless they double block, but then I can kill the Chaplain. Now they need to block the Juggernaut with at least 4 points of toughness. Okay, so then if I have the hasty guy here, I wonder if I should... Because if I need to use the animation... Let's play the land now. No. Maybe I'm just supposed to not attack with the Forge Chanter and do the Bliss Automaton here and attack like this, and next turn I can attack with more guys. Okay, I get to kill most of their stuff, that's really good. Oh, and if they don't double block the Automaton, it's going to also... Okay, now that's actually better. They do double block it, so... Whatever. And then I get to deal with the cavalry. This was totally fine. Of course, I lost my guys. They didn't take any damage, but they lost a bunch of guys as well. And I still have the option to unearth the Juggernaut, and I have some gas left. Sigil of Valor isn't that good here. It's only an offensive equipment. Doesn't do anything on defense. So it's only going to get +1/+1. It counts the other creatures they control. So it's going to be a 3-2 that they're going to threaten to make into a 5-power creature. Now, it would be a 5-4 though, so I wouldn't be able to kill it. But given that I have the... I mean... Let me see. I have so many lethals here. I just wonder if I should take it or jump block with the Tower Worker. I'm definitely not jumping with the Forge Chanter. Although it would be a trade, I guess. If they don't, if they use this, they have so few mana left that my Trample Haster will be winning. But I mean, this is already lethal by itself. I think they can't deal 5 extra. They can deal 2 extra, but then they will have 1 more mana. No, I'm not gonna. Unless I want to block with the Tower Worker, which is not that... It's good that it gives me mana, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm not gonna do that. So maybe they have like a 1 mana way to still not die to, because they are facing lethal when I unearth my thing. But that's the only thing I can do here, I guess. Now, I think that because they can jump the other, but no, one white mana, it's not gonna do anything. It can't do anything. I have played enough of this format that this should be easy now. Yeah. I mean, I know that one mana trick from white is +1/+0 and first strike with the aura. And I'm not even sure if there is anything else. Okay. So did I see... Okay, they red... Yeah, I saw, because this is blue-white deck, based on the cards I saw, but they have the Fallaji Vanguard, and I suppose also some other red things, maybe to cast with the red mana. But they are blue-white with flyers. They also have the Coilless Rock, which they, I think, milled, so I should be aware of that thing. Is that good enough reason to run something like a desynchronize here? Do I need my Forged Chanters? I don't think I need the fourth one here. They have a lot of attackers in the air, so the 1/3 on the ground isn't that great. Tower Worker is good, it can block. Is the Juggernaut going to be good? Is the Blitz Automaton gonna be good? Because I kind of feel like I might wanna play the desynchronize here. But it also can be a little bit... I mean, it's mostly against one of something they have as an expensive thing. I didn't even see the combat tricks there. Of course, bounce spells are good against combat tricks, which I didn't see. So maybe I just don't care about any of that, and I ship the same deck because I think I still wanna play the infantries because of the Might Stones animations. Yeah, this is fine. I guess the race to the ground. Don't think it has that great targets. Alright, well this is totally fine. Yeah, I saw another take flight in the draft, but I think I took the Thopter 2-drop thing over it. I definitely would have wanted to have another take flight. Actually pretty decent with the Forged Chanters. The opponent has to at least pay 2 extra life to deal with that. Mr. Foundry there. No 2-drops. Mine Worker again, okay. Let's just attack for 1. And they again have the combination with the Mr. Foundry, so I can't really block this thing. But I can play the take flight on the next turn, and I mean I can, but I won't. I would be really happy if they used 2 of their mana just to deal 2 damage to me. I mean they can play only like a 2 mana spell, but they don't have even that, so let's just have this guaranteed 1 card from this. Of course I will deal 5 damage as well. Get the card back, and now they need to deal with the Forged Chanter, or I keep, drawing cards with it. Also the supply drop is quite nice with the prowess triggers here. Alright, so they're gonna deal 4 again, but it's not going to... I don't really think they can win on the next turn or anything. I have the supply drop as a trick, so I should attack with both. No reason to play a land yet. I might draw an Evolving Wilds, although I'm not sure if I'm gonna play that. Oh, that's very easy now. Okay, I have all my 3 Forged Chanters now, and I have, some triggers for them still with the Might Stones animation and the Stern Lesson. I won't be able to cast them both on the same turn, but... Okay, so I mean I can take 4 here going down to 8. Or they have a 5 mana spell, they have a power plant worker here. Alright, so I can animate this guy. Or I can do double spell on the next turn. Just play the Juggernaut right now. They actually have 2 of the 3 now. I have to be careful if they find more. But I actually threaten dealing a lot of damage. So if I animate this thing now, this will be 2, 2 and 3 dealing creatures. That's a 4, 8. So that's a 3. So it's actually lethal attack, but problem is they can still block, you know, one of my... They are not forced to block the supply drop thing. That will be a 4/4. So that's actually a reason for me to only attack in the air for now. And I think I'm gonna play the Juggernaut, but of course I will draw a card here and maybe learn better. So here I will play a little bit safe now by choosing to do this. And next turn I have, you know, Mightstone's animation and the Stern Lesson, which means double prowess triggers. I can make the supply drop into a 4/4 surprise attacker here, and I think here I'm gonna make them use mana to save the power plant worker. Because if I don't block, they can actually make it even deal 8 damage, which wouldn't be lethal, but it's very risky. So if I'm gonna block here, they're gonna have to use, well, basically 2 mana this and tap another land. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that now. I know I could also jump block with the Forge Chanter, but I think I like this more. Because this will be a lot of damage I can deal on the next turn, and I'm still at a healthy life total myself. They will be able to gain 1 life there, but let's start with, I guess, the Stern Lesson. I'm pretty certain I'm gonna play both of these non-creatures anyway, but let's see if this gives me some ideas. It, I suppose, does not. So this means that, do I need to leave some blockers? They're still threatening to deal a lot of damage with the power plant worker and the foundry. Okay, with the explosion I definitely need to be quite... take it safe here. I do want them to... so they are at 10 when they tap the worker here. Yeah, with this thing... Oh, they actually... Wait a minute, if I attack with everything, it's not going to be... I mean, it's possible they didn't have anything in their hand or any top deck potential either, but let's see if I attack with everything. They can block the 4/4 and they can block the 3/5 here. Okay, that's double jump block. And then they go to 7. They take 7, but then they gain 1 life, so they would be at 3. So they lose the worker and they lose the marshal. I don't lose anything, and they will be at 3 life. But problem is that the power plant worker, now this can only be used once per turn, but it can be a 6/6, and then they can use the Mishra's Foundry to make it into an 8/8, which, yes, would be enough for me to survive. So, I mean, and that uses all of their mana. So was there a way for this thing to deal 10 damage to me on the next turn? Because the cheapest way for them to gain 2 extra damage is by tapping the Foundry and 1 land. That leaves them with 3 or 4 lands if they drop. So they would need to have 4 additional damage with 4 mana still. I think a Haster, yeah, that was... I mean, of course there are combinations of cards that do it. But maybe the better way here to do is just to attack with all, which the opponent didn't let me even to do, because I was figuring out that I maybe want to leave some blockers because I have the Excavation Explosion here. But problem is, if I attack with like 3 guys, leave 1 blocker, they're gonna block with the Mine Worker maybe. This can fly over me, but then again, this flying is so expensive, I don't think it's even a problem. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was better to attack with everything, but I was really considering just leaving at least 1 blocker there. I don't know what the conclusion now would have been, because, well, the game is over. Okay, well, that is a nice hand, because I can have the Thopter Mechanic on turn 2, and then, well, also could have the Forge Chanter. There's no, like, a big hurry. Maybe with the Refractor I might want to maximize the damage by playing creatures first, but we'll see what the opponent finds. And that land is very good. I'm kind of tempted just to play the Forge Center first and then the Refractor to give the counter to the Mechanic, but like I said, I wanna see what happens now. So they didn't play anything yet. Another land is actually quite good here now. I could even play the Conscripted Infantry here now. Well, or I can play the 2-drop now, and next turn have the 4 mana available for the Refractor and the Bolt. Yeah, I suppose I'll play the Forge Center here still. They also might have the bounce spell. I'm gonna get to Mountain with this thing, but I'm not gonna give them the information. Okay, they had something up but didn't play anything. Okay, blue-red as well. They might have a bounce spell they're saving for this for this thing to grab a counter, and then they bounce it once it has a counter. Explosion there, alright. Just get the mountain. And I got my 1/1, now I hope to draw a Mindstone's animation to make a 4/4 flyer. That's no acceptable. That's quite acceptable. Let's just play that thing. So let's make them have another removal spell. This is, by the way, a soldier, so if I can make some soldiers, I can of course use the draw a card ability, even if the officer, gets locked down, because they also might have the blue lockdown aura. I didn't draw this thing in my previous match, and I didn't draw the Visions of Phyrexia either. Or maybe I did draw in the third game, but I didn't need it. It was so late drawn. So this seems like an artifact spell, because they're using a Power Stone for that. I don't think an artifact can deal with the Sky Strike officer. At least I hope so. Spot to the top. Alright. And it can't even block this. Well, it can block, but I wouldn't lose it. Now I might still use the Obliterating Bolt, but let's see what I draw. They scribe on the top. Okay, so they are holding one. Yeah, I see now. They probably do have the bounce spell, because now they have an artifact creature, which means that their bounce spell is going to cost only 1 mana. So the question is, am I gonna still try to exile this thing? It's probably something I wanna get rid of anyway. So let's do it. I mean, if they wanna block or bounce the Sky Strike officer, I think it's not the worst. Yeah, that's it. That's what they were holding when they had 2 islands up. And now I'm going to play the Drafna here, or maybe copy. No, I'm not gonna copy the Refractor. I think I will still play it though, just to have some board presence. Or maybe I wanna draw a card to make sure I have 5 mana on the next turn, or at least make it more likely. Yeah, I don't think I need to draft now. Let's draw a card. And that was a land. And then I assume they might have more answers for this thing. Neither of these is a soldier, so I can't really draw a card with it yet. Even if I play this, I would have only 2 soldiers. Alright, so now they have all that stuff. I have 6 mana available, but I can't double spell my 3-drops here. Sorry, I don't have 6 mana. This is not a Power Stone, it is just a Refractor, so that's exactly 5. I can play the Juggernaut, or I can play 2-drop and a 3-drop. But they have mana up. I'm going to just see what happens when I try to attack. Put some stops here just to make it, I'm gonna pretend that I'm having some tricks here, so they don't block at all. Yeah, of course, this is not a very good block if they don't have good tricks there. And now, Juggernaut, or 2 spells. It feels like they have a counter spell. Well, this has a reasonable unearth ability, but I could play this 2-drop and a 3-drop too. So I'm actually gonna start with this thing. See what they do. And then this thing. Can start bouncing the refractor if I really have time mana for that, but I don't think that's really gonna happen. Okay, they had just a stern lesson, so it's fine. They are at 10. I have of course a better board, but obviously if they just play anything that's slightly big, I won't have any attacks into that kind of a board in that case. Arcane procs. With 7 mana they can excavation, explosion, something. Drafna, I suppose, because Drafna is really scary. I don't mind them doing that though, because now that means my Sky Strike Officer requires still another answer for them. Plus, my infantry is actually going to be able to attack into that board. And I can also attack with my 1-1 flyer, making them go down to 9. And I don't think I mind the Thopter blocking my infantry. This, by the way, the 1-1 token is also an artifact. I mean, 1-1 artifact is also a soldier for the Sky Strike Officer. Alright, so I think I'll just attack with these guys. And maybe it's time for the Juggernaut. Or maybe it's time for the Sky Strike Officer. I mean, it's more mana efficient to play the Juggernaut though, so let's do that. I played the land now. I shouldn't have, because I have a stern lesson of my own and now they have full information about my hand, but oh well. Yeah, I should have left the land in my hand. There's no bluffing potential when they know what I'm having. So, Arcane Proxy, that's a pretty good one if you have, you know, good targets for it, although, so this says less than or equal, so the prototype version can still copy 2 mana spell slow, so the... Okay, what? They also were having the proxy here now, I mean... Well, I mean, the Metamorph, which becomes a proxy, which I guess doesn't have that great of a spell. I mean, they still have a Stern Lesson or Machine of Matter, not really like that amazing stuff, but problem here is obviously now that the Mishra's Juggernaut doesn't do anything. I didn't really expect a blue-red deck to have something like a 7/7, but of course when they have access to all that mana, plus the bounce spell on the flyer, I guess is fine still, but I mean my Juggernaut just dies for no reason now. Guess I'm still gonna play this first. Okay, so now it's all about them not having an answer for the Sky Strike Officer, but if they still do have an answer for it, I am not gonna be in a good shape. Because there's no way for me to deal the 9 damage if the officer dies now. Yeah, I really wish now that I had the Juggernaut for the earlier turn. I would have at least been able to attack once with some kind of value, or make them use a removal spell on it. Alright, well I guess this is a good sign if they are gonna use the Stern Lesson, although they do have mana still to play interaction here, so maybe not so big of a deal. I think I'm going to take the 7 damage here before jump blocking. I don't want to jump block with the soldiers because I want to draw cards with the 3 soldiers. I will get a soldier if I get to attack with the officer now. Of course the officer will also have to survive for the card drawing ability to work. So let's see. But yeah, I will go to 13. That also means I can unearth the Juggernaut here. Because if they don't have the 7/7, of course this is gonna be a lot of damage, and they even couldn't attack, which is a really good sign for me. So they have 1 card in their hand. Well, first I'm supposed to just play this because this is a soldier. So let's see what happens. Now, currently I can draw cards, but I'd rather, you know, attack and then I can still draw cards because I will have 3 soldiers now. So that's good. And this means I will play the land because I might draw, you know, expensive. Well, as a combination of cards that makes me want to have all lands on the battlefield. I do have the 6 mana Unearth up. Okay, they did not have an answer for the Sky Strike Officer. They're gonna deal 2 in the air, or maybe they have ways to somehow get some other value out of the Thopter. But of course 2 in the air doesn't matter to me. And they are not able to attack with the 7. Okay, so I suppose they are just flooding here. Okay, well this is good. I get extra cards. Yeah, but the officer can indeed win games by itself. Alright, so more of these soldiers here. Might as well play pre-combat, who knows if it's somehow relevant. I can feel the frustration from the opponent, but then again I can also, I mean this could be any flyer and they still wouldn't be able to attack because I have the Juggernaut here threatening to. I might actually, that might have been a mistake. I maybe should have drawn a card first, but well, I kind of want to leave my guys untapped. Of course next turn I can just attack with everything. But yeah, it was maybe a better idea to tap the, like 2 of the 1/1s, 1 of the 3/1s. I will still have a 3/1 to block with and a 1/1 to jump block with. And then I can draw maybe something better than a Tower Worker. And I could have still done it, but then I can only cast 2 mana spells, so I don't think it was relevant after I had used the Tower Worker already. Okay, so Sky Strike Officer, my pack, 2 pick 1, won the game, but I do think if this was the Prowess Flyer, for example, the game might have gone exactly the same way. Now, I wouldn't have had these 1/1s. I wouldn't have had the 1 extra card draw. But I don't think they still were in a good shape to attack with the proxy thanks to the Juggernaut threatening to deal quite a bunch of damage there. Now, is this a Race to the Ground matchup? I think with the, well, the proxy isn't that great after it's been used. But the hulking metamorph can be something I want to deal with. Now, I didn't see a lot of other artifacts though. What would be my card if I'm going to put the Race to the Ground in? Like a Forged Chanter might not be that important. I could see cutting 1 Forged Chanter here. I also have the Crown. By the way, this deck does have a lot of bumps. I just didn't draw any of them in, or I didn't use them in the match 1. Because there's a Crown which is a legit bomb, the Visions which is a legit bomb, and of course the Officer. None of these I used in the first match. Alright, so is the Juggernaut a liability just because they might have a 7/7 hulking metamorph? I'm not sure it really is. I can even pump it with the supply drop. So I'm going to still play with the Juggernaut. But do I want to have another supply drop? Do I want to play the Race to the Ground? I guess I can eat a Power Stone for free, but that's not really that valuable. It really isn't. On the draw, maybe the supply drops aren't that great, so let's keep this deck. So I did, in fact, sideboard in the Race to the Ground. I cut one of the Forged Chanters. And maybe if it goes to game 3, I might choose to be more, aggressive and maybe use the supply drop instead of the Race to the Ground. But I don't really want to see any 7/7 hulking metamorphs, and they did seem to have a lot of Power Stone production, so it is 9 mana of course, but it can be 9 mana they can afford. Okay, now they're mulligan and I have a decent hand. The Refractor is gonna allow me to at least play the Explosion at 4 mana if nothing else. But of course I wouldn't mind drawing one of the mountains here. They did mulligan to 6 and they are now figuring out if they are gonna, well, either go to 5 or which card to lose, but they chose to keep the 6. Okay, well, I didn't need more than 1 mountain, but I guess if I get the Visions of Phyrexia, I can cast it now at 4 mana without the help from the Refractor. Hey, I did keep a 3 island hand. My first 3 draws were mountain, mountain, mountain. Okay, and they have no land drop. I think they still are holding the bounce spell, but I'm gonna do the automaton. I mean, this can be a 7 mana play, so I believe I'm just going to play the Thopter mechanic here. Because it feels like this is going to be a 7 mana play, especially if they play a target for the explosion. So I will get the Power Stone. That can make this basically a play when I have 6 lands. Okay, they are... So they are in fact not getting land drops. And my Drafna can bounce the Refractor, and I will do that. At least, I mean, if it resolves, then I will be returning it end of turn. I didn't really need the Refractor on the battlefield. The only reason to have it on the battlefield is if I top deck a Mightstone's animations. But I'd rather have the extra draw, which also gives this thing an extra counter. Oracle. Alright. Well, supply drop is quite convenient for that. Let's see if they're gonna go for it, because if they are not, I'm just playing the Mistress Juggernaut. And if I play the supply drop, I can play the Refractor then. Yeah. It's a bit weird because now I deal 1 less damage compared to the situation where I played, you know, play this thing pre-combat, but now that I want to use my 5 mana for the Juggernaut, so that's the reason I went for this play. And now at least they won't be having the 7/7 Metamorph. Now they don't have exactly 9 mana available. So this 5 damage is quite a lot this thing deals. I really like the Mistress Juggernaut, and you can unearth it later for another trampling 5, so I think it's one of the cards I did not respect enough earlier in the set. Okay, so they draw cards and they might get an instant to their hand, but they also don't affect the board. They get the Power Stone, yes, but this is going to be very problematic for them. Because I have the upper hand now, of course, in terms of the board situation here. They have just a 2/4 into which I can even attack thanks to having access to a supply drop. They discarded the Spotter Thopter, and I believe they have a land drop. And now they can find an instant here, which they did not. 4 lands though. Alright, so they didn't get a card from this thing. Now I have 6 mana available. So if I'm forced to use the supply drop, that means I'll just play, you know, draft now something. Actually, I'm gonna just play the Refractor now, right away. Because I wanna have the counter on the mechanic. And then I can just attack and see if they... It's really a big deal taking 8 damage, so they have to, I think, attack into my tricks. But yet they don't do that. So I can actually, now this is very good for me, because I can do this and this. And I already also have the explosion here, and this of course any target means also the opposing player. So I don't really think there's a good way for them to come back to the game. They have 6 mana available if they get to use the Power Stone, otherwise only 5. Arcane Proxy is getting them a Machine over Matter. They can bounce the Juggernaut, which is good, but I mean nothing too amazing. Can I copy it? No, well, yes I can, but it would require 8 mana. I have only 7 mana available, but that's actually 1 mana off from being able to copy it. Okay, so they did cast a... yeah, the bounce spell, so... Okay, they are bouncing all but the problem with those bounce spells is that, well, maybe they can find an instant here. Well, they can find a curate, but... I mean, they have played 2 of these and they mulligan to 6. That's minus cards, of course. But at least they are in the game now. And I drew my Sky Strike Officer. With 7 mana I can do a bunch of things. If they wanna double block these, they will lose 2 guys, no matter how they block. So I might just do that, actually. Which means I can't attack with anything else, though. But then again, I mean, if they do double block, that's great for me, even if it's just the Proxy and the Hunter. And if they... well, there are of course options. There are options here. Sadly, I don't have a card drawing option. Well, well, I do if I do this and return this and recast it, but then this will get the counter, but then it's just gonna be blocked by the Rock Hunter. I don't think it really is worth it. So, what to do? I'll just play the land because I'm gonna play it regardless here. 7 mana, the most efficient use for that could be Juggernaut, Sage of Latinum, not attacking at all. Or I can just push some damage. I guess I'm gonna actually push some damage here now. They are tapped out, so this will be... I mean, they have to do something with it. I mean, taking 6 is out of question. And then if they can only jump block it, or lose 2 of their creatures. And I'm happy with those options. So let's wear them down. And I can play the Sky Strike Officer, which will be a huge threat. But I mean, just by being a 2-power flyer in the here is already going to be quite good. They have a Wing Commander, which I can kill. Thopter. Okay, they are again tapped out, so now I can do the supply drop if I want to. And then Post-Combat Officer. That seems reasonable, given my options. Or I can play the Excavation Explosion. Killing the commando. Well, I guess that's an option too. Okay, let's get rid of the commando. Triggering prowess and then attack with both, and I think now they pretty much have to block with the Hurkle even though they don't want to. I guess blocking the mechanic with the Thopter isn't the worst, but if they do that, and then if they don't block with the Master Wizard at all, I mean in that case they will block the Forge Center, right? Yeah, this is, and that thing blocks. No, they actually still take the damage through here. Because I can save the mechanic, but I can also just play the Latinum thing. No, just the Sky Strike Officer, I believe. So they're gonna get the value out of the Curate. That's gonna happen. I'm gonna get the 1/1 Thopter. Yeah, I'd rather play the Sky Strike Officer, so let's do that. I mean, if they're using two of their mana on Curate, that's really... I mean, that's a lot of mana, but because even if they draw something good like a burn spell on the Sky Strike Officer, I know they do have an Excavation Explosion in the deck at least, and that's still going to use a lot of mana to deal with just one of my guys. Let's see how many they're gonna mill. They mill 2 cards and just drew whatever it was the random card on top after that. Yeah, no answer for my board. But I mean, even if they find a Excavation Explosion here, I still have so much stuff here left. Because first of all, I of course have the Juggernaut, which will be a big threat here now. I have the 1/1 flyer taking 1 damage per turn, and I have the Drafna combination with the Refractor, which can, you know, draw me more cards once I, you know, run out of all my other things to do. Okay, on the play. I think I was on the play in each of these matches. Well, this is a mulligan. A couple of my bombs here, but no lads. Alright, well, I guess I've kept worst 6 card hands, and our opponent, you know, decides to be friendly and also mulligan here. So yeah, this is easy decision on what to lose here. One of the 3 islands. Oh, the opponent goes to 5 here. Now all I need is a creature. Or maybe just the Visions of Phyrexia on turn 4, and then I'm pretty good to go, but let's see. That's going to get me... I think I'll get the mountain right away because I have 1 double red card and no double blue cards. Yeah, Thraxodemon is probably... Oh well, especially because of that thing is gonna get killed, and now I have a nice turn for play animating the Power Stone token. I think it's the first Power Stone token I see, but this says a creature deals damage. That's also including this itself, not other creature. Yeah, well, let's exile it so that it won't even be brought back by something like an emergency weld. If I mean, am I greedy here? I might want to have the other counter on this thing. Also, if this dies, I can maybe animate the flyer. So I think I'm not going to play the Might Stones animation. I'm gonna do these two things here. Okay, they had no place whatsoever. They had a creature in the graveyard, so that means they don't have the exile spell. Okay, they had the weld, but I'm happy I was able to exile this Gix here instead of the Thraxodemon. Alright, so Stern Lesson will be good too, but I think I'm happy enough trading the Thraxodemon with the mechanic. I mean, I can get a counter, more counters on this thing if I don't attack with it, but I'm still doing this so that I'm gonna make the. Let's see if I get a 1-mana spell. Is there a blue? I don't think there is. So let's animate this thing, see what I draw. That's the first thing. A land. So am I going to attack with the Thopter mechanic? I actually don't like them having access to the Thraxodemon, so I'm just happy about this attack. Not so happy about attacking with the infantry though. So let's do this. This is fine. I get the 1-mana flyer. They lose the Thraxodemon here. So no extra cards from them for them. I will not play the island because of course I might want to discard it for the Stern Lesson. Also much of that. But I have the board position that is, you know, superior, so they need something else than just okay, they might have a Power Stone Fracture though. Feels like they're gonna sack there. Yep, that was a good turn for them for sure. Now they have stabilized. If I hit a pocket of lands now, this might actually be a reason to start attacking into that thing, because I get my own 1/1 I can start attacking with. Although if they draw any creature that is, you know, just has any kind of size, yeah, I mean, if they were at lower life total, that would make sense. When they're at 16, I mean, even if I get to attack a couple of times with the 1/1 token, it's not gonna matter that much. This might be much more valuable in trading with something they might have. Okay, so I'm willing to trade the Forged Chanter here. How with the Infiltrator if they double block, that's fine. Okay, this little Thopter might be actually relevant if they don't. I mean, I fear of course that they have a Corrupt. Although Corrupt will be only gain 6 for them, and dealing 6 to, you know, me or one of my creatures isn't the end of the world. But of course I hope they don't have such a thing, because it would make my clock so much slower. Flesh Scorcher, well, I mean, at least it's not a, it's only a prototype version of that thing. Yep, well, I guess I need one of my bombs now. I have 3 of them. Sky Strike Officer, Phyrexian Visions, and of course there is the Crown, which I haven't seen at all. Well, there is one of them. They can start sacking some of that stuff, but I suppose when they sack the 1/1 I can attack with my infantry, so it's not the end of the world. And of course now this is, I have already 3 soldiers, so I can use the Sky Strike Officer right now, but I think I'm still waiting. Because they might... Yeah, I wanna block the Flesh Scorcher if they're gonna attack. I'm gonna block with the one of the Forged Chanters and the infantry. So I don't want them to... I don't want to allow them to do that. They seem to be drawing a card from the 1/1 token, and then Infiltrator will grow into a 3/2. Okay, well, maybe they have a trick, but I mean, I'm not taking this just for fun. I wanna see what happens. But this dies, it still creates me a soldier for the officer. So if they have now something like a disfigure, I don't care. Okay, so I'm actually not even losing the the infantry, so I can let this happen. I think they have an emergency weld. That has to be the only option. Why would they make that attack? I mean, they trade it with the forged chander, so they have a way to bring this back. That's the only logical explanation here. They didn't need to gain the 3 life right now. No, they just sack that thing post. Why not pre-combat? Okay. Locust exiles something from my graveyard, but it doesn't matter. I don't have counter spells, so I don't need to draw in response. Yeah, I have no way to bring these guys back, so it doesn't matter. And then I get to... Yeah, the conscripted infantry being relevant also for the officer, not just for the Mightstones animations. Alright, so let's draw a card. I can actually attack with the Forged Chander now into that board. Blitz Automaton. I mean, I guess I could do it just like this, but... I mean, cast it now. But... It can be blocked by... I'm gonna attack with the infantries, that's for sure. So I'm not going to draw a card this turn. Unless they block both infantries. Because of course I will be getting one token here, but I don't think they're gonna block both of them. I guess that's a reason to not play the automaton, that maybe they will block both of them. Because they will have, of course, they will be bringing me back 1/1 untapped soldiers, which I would be able to use to tap all, both of them plus the one I just created. That's a lot of damage though, so if they don't block, that's, you know, not so great for them. And of course, blocking the Forged Chander, you know, I would be happy to trade. I think I would trade the Infiltrator with it, even though the Flyer might be annoying. But this can keep growing with the Thraxodemon, so... Oh, that's just great for me. If they do that, wow, I actually get to draw a card now. I'm gonna do it immediately because this is 5 mana. I might draw. I mean, I can cast most of my spells, and I don't care about having blockers against the board. They currently are having there. So can I draw my crown even once? Oh, that's a nice one for the Thraxodemon. Sadly for them, they really... Oh, there's also red in their deck. It has to be like a splash mostly. But yeah, there's not that much time for them to, you know, use the 3 mana here. Especially if they don't even have now the 3 mana. Of course they can, you know, sack the Wellspring for the Strongbow, but they would rather draw 2 cards by sacking it. Not just 1, which they will get if they sack it for the Strongbow. Alright, so am I going to attack with my soldiers here? They are at 9. They can only make this into a 3/4 because they have only 1 artifact. So this Blitz Automaton is gonna be great here. The only way for them to deal with it is to lose both of their creatures. And taking 6 is not exactly an option for them either. So I'm definitely going to play the Blitz Automaton. I'm just thinking here if I want to pre-combat draw a card, or do I want to use these 1/1s as attackers now? I think I might even just prefer the card now. It seems that the game is fairly well in my grasp now, so I don't need to, you know, force a couple of points of damage here. The card will be more valuable here, in case they, you know, get actually like a corrupt, which would gain them 6 life now. And the Juggernaut is really good, but I can't do them both. Yeah, this is just better play, so let's do this. So I can attack for 3 in the air. They are forced to block the Blitz Automaton actually. Don't think there's much point. Oh, they can't really... I mean, they can't double block it because they would die, but then again, they are never going to not block it. So... I mean, I guess if they choose to... Now, there's one way. They can jump block the Blitz Automaton and then block the Forged Chander with the Strongbow and actually eat it. I don't want them to eat it, so I'll just do it like this. This is good enough. This is really good still. I guess they might find a disfigure or something here. They have one black mana up now. So they also have a pretty nice set of Midigre. So there's a Phyrexian Flesh Scourger here, and there's a Gix Predator here. So I need to keep them in mind when I'm sideboarding how to deal with them. Raise to the ground will definitely be played. Sideboard it in. Scrap a creature, okay. Okay, they can draw a card with that thing. 3 mana left. Anything that helps them. I have an on-board lethal here, so if they just play a creature, then I have 100% information about my possibilities here. But of course, that's 2 in the air. They go down to 3. Even if they block 3 of my biggest guys. Oh, that's actually 3 in the air because this Thopter flies. So they are 2, and you know there are still what 6 ground guys attacking that only need to deal 2 damage. All right, so Flesh Scourger and Gix. So for sure the raise to the ground should be played. And then they had some Thrax Demon stuff going on. They also have the emergency will to bring something back, but I have the one removal thing that are exiles. Yeah, I don't think any of these is desynchronize. No, it's too expensive. I just don't think it's very good card. These effects when they are 4 mana are acceptable. At 5 mana it's a little bit too much. The Scry 2 is nice, but it's not really worth paying 5 mana for that effect. Alright, so I have to cut one card and then I have to make a decision if I want to, put something else. I didn't see a lot of removal from them. There was the Sorcerer's Breed Power Stone Fracture, but I was like considering if the supply drop is doing something in this matchup. Is the Tower Worker like redundant? Although it can block the 2/1 flyer I saw. But I saw only one of them. Well, I have to cut something. Is the supply drop going to matter? I kinda like it quite often. But. Well, I'm gonna cut. I guess again one of the Forged Chanters. Maybe not the. Maybe I'm gonna cut the Tower Worker and play the supply drop number 2. Maybe that makes no sense, but I feel like this matchup might be one where 1/3 isn't a reasonable stat line. And I might not need the mana accelerating either. Okay, that's I have so many cards that give me good, targets for the animation that I'm not worried about. Having these 2 in my starting hand without any way to animate, but I already drew one of them. So this Refractor might be my turn 3 play. Then I can animate this thing. Okay, I can't block this for now, but at least let's say they have like an Evolving Wilds, of course, then I can't anymore. Well, or that. That's gonna make it into a 3-2. They have a good start here. They didn't even mulligan this time, so they are gonna deal 3. I'm gonna deal 2. If they have a 3-drop there, it will be a tough situation. Maybe I draw a removal spell. Well, I have only like 2 of them, so I can't really count on that too much. Well, that is sort of a removal spell. Sadly, they now know about it, so if they have the Flesh Scourger, for instance, they are not gonna play it. Okay, let's do this first. Maybe it's gonna be a Evolving Wilds. No, I already used my Evolving Wilds. Well, still gonna play pre-combat for the prowess trigger. Okay. So this is only going to be a 1-3 on their turn, but it can still block the Fracture Demon. So am I gonna deal 2 and then take 5? I'd rather deal 0 and take only 3. So no attacks. Oh, they have now the actual great stuff. I mean, they had good stuff in the first game too, but they did mulligan to 5 there, and I had just the better stuff in that case. But now their curve has been pretty good, and this Genius is just such a threat. Such a threat indeed. Giving haste and +1/+0 and menace to all of the other guys is pretty horrible. Well, I can only hope that they have nothing relevant in their hand. Okay, that's one thing to use to remove one of their things. And also it gives me a power stone for the second Might Stones animation. Problem is they have actually 2 cards I want to get rid of, the Genius and the Infiltrator, and maybe even the Fracture Demon. So I can't kill all of them. Maybe I can trade with one of them. I mean, the opponent might be willing to just trade the Infiltrator with the Refractor. I would be totally fine with that. Oh, they also have a Gixis command. Okay, yeah, that's enough. I'm not gonna come back from that, especially even if I draw one of my bombs. They are too slow. They have a massive board. They give one of their guys +2 or 2 counters, and I have to sack the 4/4. They have 9 power of creatures against my 14 life, and this is only able to jump block. I guess it can block one of the guys. That will be a 2/2 here, but still, I can't beat the. I mean, for example, the guy that gets the counters, I won't be able to kill it even with the explosion. So let's just forget about that game. They just had the better stuff there. And now that I see that they also have a Gixis command. Now I have 3 bombs in my deck too, but the opponent definitely. I mean, I just don't have any way to deal with that. I don't have a counter spell in my sideboard. That is one of the reasons to actually put a counter spell, Urza's rebuff to your deck after sideboarding. But there is no such thing in my sideboard now. So I just didn't see much for the Race to the Ground. I don't think I'm gonna even play that now. Just the one Flesh Scorcher, which I have to deal with some other way. But I need to do what exactly? I mean, I feel like maybe the Desynchronize might even play something. Man, it's so expensive. I guess I can have mana for it. Maybe I should just have the 2-drop to try to raise the opponent. I did sideboard another supply drop in that makes the Forge Chanter slightly better. Fine, I'll do that. But it's mostly going to come down to who draws the most bombs. And if they, I mean, Gixis command is, I think, the best card out of both of our bombs. So let's hope they don't have that. Alright, this is fine. I can play the Sternless on turn 3, Might Stones animation turn 4, assuming I get my 4th land, but it's pretty likely, especially after drawing these 2. Take Flight will be good. Yeah, as long as they don't have a Gixis command, they have to mulligan again. Their deck seemed very consistent, so they don't have like a 3 colors, or at least I didn't see 3 colors, so they are a bit unlucky here now because they mulligan. Now I did mulligan to 6 in game 1, but they did mulligan to 5, and now they again mulligan here, but we'll see how good of their draw is. Chromatic Star. I wouldn't mind having a 2-drop here, but I mean that's asking quite a lot. I also wanted to have the land, because ideally I also get to discard a land on the Stern Lesson. Do they have a Gixis, the Gixian Infiltrator? They still could have. Okay, they're sacking that before playing such a thing, so nope. they see mine card, which is just an island, fine. I do think that even though I could play the Automaton here, I'd just rather have a Stern Lesson, especially now that I have an extra island I just don't need. But there is a reason to do the Automaton and then take flight. But I think I like this more. Automaton can still be a 6-4 haster. Of course, when I have the Power Stone equipped by the Might Stone's animation, that won't help too much because, I mean, the 4-4 can still tap for mana, but it also is quite a common target for their removal. But let's see now what I draw here. Okay, Moulins. Juggernaut is also an option here. Well, I mean, that's definitely the card to play here right now, because now I might go for the plan that Blitz Automaton can be played on turn 6, because I do have the 6 lands. So now if they remove that, well, that's one removal they don't have access to anymore. Now, well, with this, I think I might still do that. Alright, I'm gonna actually do this now. Not this. I'm gonna do this. There's the crown. Might be quite relevant. Because this doesn't really, prevent me from playing the full cost Blitz Automaton on the next turn if they don't remove the token. But of course I might have some better things to do too. I mean, take flight on this thing. Let's say, let's keep in mind they might have a Gigis command. And they have no creatures in their graveyard to return. They can make this into a 4-4 and make me sack this thing. And they would gain also 4 life. So that seems a thing they might do here now. They would go to 20, I would go to 14, yeah. That's still a very good Gigis command if they have it there. Well, they at least didn't play it right now. They didn't play anything. Well, I'm not playing the take flight into open mana here. There's no reason to. I could just Juggernaut here, but feels a little bit sketchy. I'm actually just casting this guy now. I have to tap my Might Stone thing, but I mean, I assume at least one of these will survive. They don't have removal on both. They could have the Exile spell that's gonna cost 5 mana, but then they will exile the Blitz. Okay, they had nothing actually. Wow. Maybe they have more red than I thought, and they are actually mana having color screw there, but we'll see. Of course, now I just have them much better board because they just totally skipped their previous turn. They played nothing, and I played a 6-4 haster. Well, they could still have a Corrupt in the deck, but that is just 6 life for them. They are at 16. Maybe they kill the Automaton. I don't think they can target me. Okay, now they do that thing, which they probably should have done on the previous turn. Because now they just missed their previous turn there. Okay, now I will be... Okay, double supply drop here. Would be quite interesting to just play the crown and attack. That will actually allow me to use a supply drop if they have a damage-based removal, which they might not have. Black, I mean, they would if they are gonna... If they are going to draw a mountain, maybe they can have a obliterating bolt or something like that. But I think I just should do this instead. They maybe have a disfigure there. Feels like that. Okay, the question is, am I gonna supply drop now to make it lethal attacker on the next turn? Huh. I mean, it's probably not what I'm supposed to do here. I mean, if this is gonna be able to attack on the next turn, I still draw a card and it's gonna be very good. So I'm not gonna do that. Also, one of the reasons to not do that is that I can play the crown now, and on the next turn, thanks to the mountain I just drew, I can unearth this and have it be a 7 power trampler, if that somehow is relevant, which it might. Infiltrator is not scary here. Plus, of course, I do have a still lethal here with the double supply drop. I mean, if the opponent taps out on something that doesn't deal with the flyer, then I will just win. Because I can, you know, equip it and cast these supply drops and all that. So the worst thing they could have is the exile target creature, which would cost 5 mana for them right now. I haven't seen it in this match. Doesn't mean they don't have it. Given all the black pumps they have, they probably had a pretty open black in their draft. Or they just were very lucky on their opens. Maybe it's another Power Stone Fracture that they really just... Well, I mean, then they just sacrifice the Infiltrator and that's it. I mean, it's not really that hard if I play. They do have the 4/4 that's gonna beat me in a couple of turns. Okay, so that happened. Well, I really don't like the fact that they are having so much open mana, but they have only two cards in their hand, and I suspect one of them is a Disfigure, because they had stops when they had only one swamp up. All this means that, well, I'm gonna play the land, because what I could do, I could equip this guy. And then I could have, this would be a 7 power creature, then I play one supply drop, make it 9 power creature, then they, you know, disfigure it, and I can play another supply drop to make it still 9. But if they have the exile spell, and I go for the equip, that's pretty bad. I could just unearth this, but that doesn't leave me... I mean, I could do this, but this is not much better. No, that's not better at all. It's a really tough one, actually. Okay, I'm gonna put them on the Disfigure. I'm gonna put them on a Disfigure, and I'm gonna beat it to 1 Disfigure here. If they have the exile spell, then it's... I guess I'm not exactly dead, they can deal 6 to me, but it's very close to me being dead after that. I guess I can post-combat use the crown. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they kill this now, I can equip this crown with the Mightstone's animations. But they, of course, I don't have mana for that if I commit to my play. But like I said, I'm gonna play around 1 Disfigure, not 2 Disfigures. 1 Disfigure here. Because I'm gonna beat 1 Disfigure here. Haha, correct read. Well, supply drop sideboarding was relevant. Yeah, I have found myself to play a lot of these supply drops. Because decks that have artifact synergies, and this deck had like the Mightstone's animation, or just a bunch of Power Stones, which makes these cost a lot cheaper. In the end, this is a trick that can draw you even a card, but that will take a lot of time, of course. But sometimes the 3 mana 3 mana +2/+2 is just enough to be good enough. Now, I wouldn't play any combat trick that requires a specific color instant for 3 mana that gives +2/+2. That would be bad. Even at 2 mana, it's too bad. And of course, they don't print even those things. They will have some additional effects. But I guess the fact that this can also just draw a card and synergize with your artifact stuff, sacrifice stuff, that is enough to make this card worth running. And of course, the Power Stones making it cheaper. So I don't think it's a bad card at all. Okay, so I did draw the crown there, and I suppose it was relevant. Yeah, I mean, I needed the +2/+0 from it to actually win on that turn, so that did some work. And of course the Sky Strike Officer did a lot of work. I never got to resolve the Visions of Phyrexia though, which is another I mean, if you have this on turn 4, it's so hard for the opponent to try to make any kind of game plan involving, you know, any sort of length for the game. because you will, of course, just overwhelm the opponent. Unless they have a similar kind of a card advantage machine. But you can just overwhelm your opponent with this thing so easily that it's a very, very strong card. I didn't need it in the 7th. I was able to get all the wins. Also, the conscripted infantry is not a card I usually run, but it was very good with the Mightstones animations, even though, well, it wasn't in this event, but the idea is that it is, giving some additional targets for the animating, so it was worth running them here. And it's not like I had other good 3-drops, for example, the third path savant isn't that good. And of course, this was also soldier for the officer, which, officer doesn't usually need any extra help, but it's definitely good when you have already soldiers on the battlefield when you play this, and that actually did happen in one of the games. So yeah, this was a pretty decent deck. Maybe the bombs make it a, so that I can say that maybe 3-0 was good, but this deck had, not the greatest 2-drops. The top tier mechanic was of course great. The chanters are just mediocre. I had only like 2 removal spells, and I would have preferred to have maybe like one of the blue lockdown auras or something like that. But I mean, sometimes you just don't need that thing, that kind of stuff, like removal to get the job done. I did have, like, for example, triple Mightstones animations, and this is a really good card, of course, when you have the target for it. Basically a 4-mana 4/4 hasty attacker, and sometimes you can even make a flyer into a 4/4, and that's such amazing. So yeah, I like the deck, but I think it could have been better if the colors were even more open. But anyway, this was the draft for now. All the wins happened. I get the best prize here, and I will see you in the next video in a couple of days. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.